In the headlines, 12-year-old boy who had his eye plucked out in Bauchi responding to treatment. Police raid a suspected IPOB Easter Security Network camp in Ebonyi, killing 2 people while arresting the commander and discovering a bomb factory. As the holiday season approaches, food inflation soars to 24%. And U.S. President Joe Biden supports the African Union attaining permanent G20 membership, plans to visit Africa in 2023. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. 12-year-old Najib Hussaini is responding to treatment at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital after suspected hoodlums plucked one of his eyes in Kafim Madaki community of Ganjua local government area of Bauchi State. An ophthalmologist, Dr. Abdullahi Mahdi, disclosed this while observing the victim at the eye center of the hospital. This report is presented by Adam Wima.
12-year-old Najib, an indigen of Kano State who came to Ganjua local government area of Bauchi State for Quranic school, revealed that 2 unknown people on a motorcycle picked him up after luring him to a nearby house on the pretext of helping them call a lady. His doctors, Abdullahi Mahdi and Hajara Isa, are grateful that the State First Lady Aisha Bala Muhammad intervened to save the victim's life.
Yesterday when I came, I saw them in the clinic having he had come back for follow-up. So considering that we previously had a similar case, so I tried to contact the office of the wife of the governor, and I was able to do that, and I spoke with the protocol officer and requested that they should find out if this child will also have some form of assistance, just as was offered to the previous victim of this kind of situation.
The inflammation goes down well enough. This takes about 6 weeks or more, 6 to 8 weeks. If the inflammation is well controlled, then we can actually fit him for an artificial eye, which will not be seen, but at least will be able to bring back some cosmesis to the child.
Salihu Adamu is the teacher of young Najib. He told Trust TV that the hoodlums took the boy unaware. Najib wanted to shout, but they took him, forced him to a nearby bush and plucked his eye. They later threw him by the roadside with blood gushing from his eye. Some boys took him back home and called me. When I come, we rushed him to Kafim Madaki Hospital, where we were later referred to ATBU Teaching Hospital Bauchi. Meanwhile, representatives from the office of the Bauchi First Lady have promised to settle the victim's medical bills until he fully recovers.
We see that the eye is getting worse because, in the village, and there are open, maybe it's with his madam, father, so, this is like something. So actually, we rush, we find out that even the eye is some water and it's closing. So that's why we just rush, and then I call the doctor. So I tell him the condition. I even slap him at that particular time, send a picture of him. So no, we have to bring him back to the hospital.
Najib Hussaini was admitted for further treatment at the pediatric ward at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, while police operatives have launched a manhunt for the suspected hoodlums. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
A very tragic story there indeed. Now, moving on, Ebonyi State Police Command on Thursday killed 2 members of the indigenous people of Biafra and arrested 2. The State Police Public Relations Officer SP Chris Sanyal made this known in a statement. The PPRO added that a smooth joint team of the command's tactical teams, the military and DSS found improvised explosive devices developed in one of the IPOB factory in the area, which were capable of causing colossal damage to buildings and humans alike. He said the success followed the early arrest of one IPOB commander who hailed from Obegu in Onitsha local government area of Ebonyi State. The statement further said the arrested suspect is cooperating with the police in the ongoing investigation. Elsewhere, Niger State has announced the reopening of primary and secondary schools that were closed down at the peak of banditry attacks in Rafi, Shiroro and Muya, among other local government areas of the state. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello made the announcement at the commissioning of the student twin hostels, staff quarters, lecture theatres and fire service centres at the Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida University, Lapai. The governor said the schools were reopened following the tremendous improvement in security in the affected local government areas, adding that government would continue to provide security in the affected areas to enable children stay in school. He said new hostels and other structures would assist in reducing accommodation challenges faced by students in the university. The governor said state government is committed to deploying more resources for the infrastructural development of educational institutions in the state. He said the education sector was heavily disrupted by the twin challenges of COVID-19 and insecurity in the state. Therefore, more has to be done to restore the sector. Stakeholders in Guyuk, local government area of Adamawa State, have reiterated their commitment to end the farmer-herder conflict and other communal crises facing the area, especially the frequent crisis among Lunguda and Waja people. Conflict between the two communities that live across the borders of Adamawa and Gombe states usually spills across both states and often results in deaths, while some residents will end up in camps as internally displaced persons. Salis Lawal has the details of this report.
It will be recalled in May 2021 last year, the governors of Adamawa and Gombe states convened a joint security meeting with leaders of the affected communities and heads of security agencies in a joint effort to curtail the perennial crisis between the two communities. Stakeholders there said they are working relentlessly to avoid a reoccurrence of the incident through engagement in alternative dispute resolution.
We will not take this campaign lightly. We are going to amplify it to our Lunguda Waja communities, as well as farmers and herders. Our outreach will also include churches and mosques. Communal clashes have reversed development in our settlement in many areas.
We are strengthening already existing mechanism in the community to handle alternative dispute resolution in various communities. On this training, we expect to see changes instead of going face-to-face or let me say fist-to-fist solving conflicts. We would like to see a roundtable discussion where at the end of the day both parties go home happily instead of one party going home happy and the other going on home unhappy.
They therefore call on the traditional and community leaders, as well as the entire people of the area, to cooperate with the government and security agencies to ensure safety and security in their communities.
We need to enlighten people. We need to educate them to know there are other measures. We must not resort into violence. We must not resort into court litigations at all times. There are measures that have been put in place from time immemorial regarding disputes, and we should try and employ these measures to see that we live in peace and harmony, or at least to minimize litigation.
Zaman lafiya ta kasance, saboda haka gaskiya da tun da.
This sensitization and interaction between communities should have been started long ago. We would have get rid of challenges of insecurity. We appreciate your effort, and as leaders, we promise to extend this campaign of peace to our communities.
Despite the crisis, indigenes of Lunguda and Waja enjoyed age-long historical relationships covering critical areas like intermarriages, cultural heritage, and social ceremonies. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
The federal government on Wednesday opened the second Niger bridge between Oko in Asaba, Delta State, and Onitsha, Anambra State, motorists for temporary use. The move is part of efforts to decongest the ever-busy Niger bridge by the federal government and put smiles on the faces of Nigerians, particularly the people from the eastern part of the country. Trust TV reporter who visited the bridge on Thursday observed that vehicles were plying the bridge from Asaba to Onitsha. It will be recalled that the federal government had promised to open the second Niger Bridge for temporary use from December 15th to January 15th. According to reports, the temporary opening of the second Niger Bridge was to decongest traffic from the old bridge during the Yuletide. Some passengers appreciated the federal government for opening the bridge.
I want to thank the federal government for the initiative. We just appeal to them to keep on. God bless them. The populace, they are very happy. We just appreciate them.
I'm happy because there is very traffic on the other side of the road. So I was thinking how it probably take me like hours for me to cross over to where. When I come here and the bridge is okay, so massive, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to cross the bridge for the first time, to open the bridge.
If the government should continue to work like this, Nigerians will not complain. There is hope that during the Yuletide, we will travel freely to our hometown and come back in safety and peace.
Moving on, Nigerians will mark Christmas and New Year celebrations with hike in prices of goods, and inflation rose to 24.13% in November. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the food inflation rate in November was 6.92%, higher compared to the rate recorded in November 2021. The NBS said the rise in food inflation was caused by increases in prices of bread and cereal, oil and fat, potatoes, yam and other tubers, food products and fish. It added that headline inflation rate also rose to 21.47%. It said the increase in the monthly inflation rate can be attributed to the sharp increase in demand usually experienced during the festive season. Well, in the meantime, some Abuja residents speak on how rising inflation affects their lives.
The inflation in the country have caused a lot of high in price in things. So I decided to cut costs of things that I do. And of course, now plantain, I can't even afford it in this day. Plantain, yam, those things. You know, initially I bought yam in tubers, but now I buy them in few. You know, I cut costs of things that I eat. I could not afford things that I normally eat before.
At least before, I can enter motor here for 100 naira, but now it's 150. So as you see me now, I'm trying to make sure I will get to that point where I will get 100 naira. So that 50 naira from here now, I will use it and add. When I get Apo Bridge, I normally enter 150, but now from that Apo Bridge to Mechanic Village is 200 naira. So I will cut the 50 naira from here, trek the 50 naira to this joint. Then I will use that 50 naira and add it to that 50 naira to complete that 200 naira to Apo Mbuka, where I'm going to.
You're watching News Update on Trust Television. Coming up, impact of bad road on landlords. Details of this story after the break.
The FCT administration has observed an increase in the influx of street beggars into the city and metropolis. When you give alms directly to street beggars, you encourage this unwholesome practice with its attendant risks to all. Remember, street begging remains banned in the FCT. Residents are encouraged to channel their alms through recognized channels as the churches, mosques, and orphanages. A better approach which still guarantees the reward of your kind gesture, as neither Islam nor Christianity encourages begging. This way, we can rid the city of this menace. To keep Abuja safe is our collective responsibility. Play your part. This message is from the FCT administration.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update, our top stories. 12-year-old boy responding to care after having his eye plucked out in Bauchi. Police raid a suspected IPOB Eastern Security Network camp in Ebonyi, killing 2 people, arresting the commander and discovering a bomb factory. Moving on, an upper Sharia court in Kano State has sentenced the controversial cleric Abdul Jabbar Nasir Kabara to death by hanging for blasphemy against the Prophet of Islam. Delivering the judgment, presiding judge Abdullahi Sarkiola convicted the cleric on all the 4-count charges. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibril reports that the court has also seized all the 189 books belonging to Abdul Jabbar and ordered the immediate and indefinite closure of 2 mosques known to be used by the cleric in preaching his ideology. The report.
Moment after his arrival at the court premises in Kopar Kudu, Abdul Jabbar Nasir Kabara was convicted of all the 4-count charges of blasphemy against the Prophet of Islam. But there was a mild drama when the convict still stood by his action and went further to accuse the court for twisting his words.
Deliver your judgment. I'm not asking you for leniency at all. I want all my followers to know that I will die a hero, and I don't want you, Ibrahim Serkiola, to do me any favor or grant me leniency. This is my last word. Assalamu alaikum.
Based on Section 382 of the Kano State Penal Code 2000, Presiding Judge Justice Sarkiola says after several sittings to ascertain the validity or otherwise of Sheikh Abdul Jabbar's denial of the 4-count charges, the court has so far studied all the charges, cross-examined all the witnesses, and studied all the evidences presented, and has come to the conclusion that Sheikh Kabara, after failing to prove to court beyond reasonable doubt, has indeed committed the crime of blasphemy against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, whose punishment is now death by hanging.
Whoever, by any means, publicly insult by using word or expression, writing or verbal by means of gesture, which shows or demonstrates any form of contempt or abuse against the Holy Quran or any prophet shall, on conviction, be liable to death.
Therefore, relying on this section 382B of the Sharia Penal Code 2000, you are hereby sentenced to death by hanging.
A judgment between Abdul Jabbar Nasir Kabara and Kano State government started some 17 months ago, after the Kano State government on 16th July 2021 accused Abdul Jabbar Nasir Kabara for using offensive words against the Prophet of Islam, which the Council to Kano State government say has finally ended.
He has been convicted as charged that he has done something against the law, uttering words that are offensive against the Prophet ﷺ. He has been convicted as charged and he has been sentenced to death. And the court further ordered that all the books he tendered in court, about 200 of them, have been confiscated, and the court ordered that these books should be deposited in the Kano State Library for the public to benefit from.
Although Abdul Jabbar has 30 days to appeal, but he may not only die by hanging, because the court has also forbid the use of his preachings by any media organization or the use of his photographs in order to promote his beliefs or teachings. At the moment, security operatives were deployed in and around the Kopar Kudu, leading to Kabara, the birthplace of Abdul Jabbar, possibly to prevent any breakdown of law and order. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Well, there you go. Elsewhere, landlords in Benin City, the Edo State capital, want the state government to urgently address the deplorable condition of access roads and streets. a situation they said is almost getting them displaced in their locality in Ego local government area of the state. Nafisa Bello completes this report.
The ever-busy Benin-Agbo-Onitsha road, the link road to the eastern parts of the country. On daily basis, road users spend hours on this axis to get to their various destinations due to the deplorable condition of the road, especially during raining season. These elderly landlords and landladies at Upper Medical Store Road, Ego local government area of the state, want the state government to, as a matter of urgency, come to their rescue, as the streets and roads have become impassable and unmotorable. Adding that, the houses are their only means of livelihood. But with no access roads, it has been difficult getting tenants.
At this my age, now this house now I built when I young, when I supposed to they eat now. Because of this bad road, nobody they come here go rent house. It don't reach 6 months when they write room to rent, nobody to rent. But they go say house good, but no road to enter.
There's no road to my house. The house there now, my house is number 30, this street, this very street. No tenant in my house. The whole house is empty. I beg the state government to come and help us to do the road. I beg.
From radio, from information, from television, now with the hearsay campaign they go on.
To Amasio. So we are begging government to help us. There's no road. We don't have road.
Because of the bad road, nobody not let them come tell us for this street, say make we vote for them again. Maybe na shame self, because they promised before, they not they fulfill that.
A school in the neighborhood has been abandoned due to lack of good roads and emerging gullies, posing threat to the children.
We join ourselves here about our street. We come and beg the state government to come and help us because of this our street. Look at the primary school here. It's not damaged because nobody they attend the school again. We all are begging state government to come and help us. That is what we are here for.
We get as it be, no road to enter our street. I beg state government, make them help us. God repair our street for us.
With the impending Christmas and New Year celebrations, the residents here expect the federal government to do the needful on the Benin-Agbo road to address the plight of travelers, while the state government is also expected to create and fix collapsed access roads in parts of the state. Nafisa Bello, Trust TV News, Benin.
The Joint National Assembly Committees on Niger Delta have screened Loretta Onochie as chairman of the Niger Delta Development Commission Board. Onochie, Special Assistant on Social Media to President Muhammadu Buhari, was screened by the joint committees alongside 13 others for NDDC board roles. The report.
In his opening remarks, Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Amos Bulus, said the need for the board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, to be constituted is long overdue, noting that the absence of a governing board for the interventionist agency had hampered its performance in recent time. Senator Bulus urged the nominees, if confirmed, to ensure that the purpose for which the NDDC was established is ultimately achieved.
What I'm trying to say is that the Niger Delta Commission has been without a constituted board for quite some time. And today we are thanking Mr. President for being magnanimous enough to send some nominees. And why we are here today is to screen those nominees that are sent down to this place by Mr. President.
Some NDDC committee members had some reservations against the nomination of Loretta Onochie. She is said to come from a non-oil producing community in her Delta state of origin. This, they noted, contravenes the NDDC Act, a situation they noted does not permit to chair the commission.
I would like to know your local government in Delta State and your community. And then a follow-up question so I can rest, so that a few of my colleagues may want to say, whether to the best of your knowledge,
your community, the community you come from.
But another committee member, Bamidele Okpeyemi, recalled that the former NDDC chairman, Onyema Ugochukwu, is from Abia State, saying that Onochie is qualified to head the commission's board.
When we had a reason to turn down the presidential nomination of this same nominee in the Senate, it was because the position for which he was nominated was the position of an umpire, electoral umpire.
We have appointed a chairman from our state before that is not from the local government where they produce oil, Chief Onyema Ugochukwu. And nobody can tell us to reject this woman.
The chairman nominee, Loretta Onochie, assured the joint session of her competence.
Good morning once again. I'll stand on the already established protocol. My name is Loretta Onochie. I am from Delta State. And I'm a mother of 2 adult bankers in the United Kingdom.
President Buhari had written to the Senate requesting the upper chamber to confirm the appointment of the chairman and members of the NDDC board in accordance with the provisions of the Niger Delta Development Commission Establishment Act.
And on the foreign scene, President Joe Biden has announced support for the African Union joining the Group of 20, a global forum for major economies, as the United States seeks to build stronger relations with African nations. Speaking at the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit event on Thursday, Biden said the African leadership and innovation are critical to addressing some of the world's most pressing challenges. And that's it on news updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Thank you so much for watching.